Welcome back to Arrusted Development. 2 guys, 2 minutes, talk about rust. And today we're going to talk about how to prevent rust in a packaging scenario sustainably.
That's what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about.
In the invite you said go green, how armor goes green, and I thought go green.
It's not really, I mean, you tried, but...
Should I? Okay.
Let's just keep going. Now, the story of rust. And the 2 guys who talked about it in 2 minutes. It's Arrusted Development. All right, 2 minutes on the clock, let's roll. So number 1, and maybe everyone's favorite, recyclability. Now, as we all know, recycling is a great way to reduce our carbon footprint, reduce the raw resources we use, and on top of all of that, it's a great way to actually use less energy. All of armor wrap paper is recyclable, repalpable, renewable, and all of Armor Poly has the number 4 little triangle thing to recycle it.
So the second way to go green is through recycled content. Now, I don't know if our lab geeks had some sort of a crystal ball where they could see 3 years into the future and say, we need to put 30% recycled content into our Poly films. But it's a really good thing that they did, because the UK imposed a plastics tax just a couple of weeks ago, starting on April 1st, that if a piece of poly came through the border and it didn't have at least 30% recycled content, that it would get taxed up the wazoo. So your wazoos can thank Armor that they're not being taxed in the UK. Now, let's think about an old school incandescent light bulb, one that gives off 90% of its energy as heat. And then let's think about today's light bulb, these LED light bulbs that give off 80% of its energy as light. That's what we're looking for. That's why we created the Defender bag. The Defender bag looks at that same type of technology of pushing all the VCI where it's needed at the metal part. With our 3-layer film, we're able to down gauge and we're able to create a better bag that works just as good. And it's a lot thinner and it's a lot cheaper and it saves on a lot of material.
Number 4, the biodegradable fable. Now, we've all heard the term biodegradable and it sounds really great. And in theory, it is really great, where you've got a plastic that is made of biodegradable components so that it biodegrades just like a tree would in nature, in soil. And maybe one day we'll get to that point as a society, but right now, we really can't use it because there just isn't enough infrastructure set up in place. It takes an enormous amount of energy and sunlight and heat to actually transform those biodegradable bags into a fully composted material. Now, what actually ends up happening is someone tosses it in a landfill. It biodegrades maybe a tiny little bit, but really not that great because it just breaks up into a ton of tiny little microplastics that you might be familiar with. They end up in water supplies, or I don't know, a small chipmunk might find it. And yeah, it's tragic. It really just kind of makes the whole ecosystem worse. So the biodegradable fable, while in a marketing approach might sound super great, isn't actually great in practice.
It sounds like what you're saying is we're striving to get there, but we're not there yet, and we're being honest about it.
That's exactly right. So taking us to number 5, the best way to go green in a packaging scenario is by using paper, a fantastic renewable resource. 65% of it actually is recycled year over year, so fantastic. Use paper.
And the 6th way that we're working our wazoos off to go green is through what we call our green thumb. Now what that is really just a test that we put all of our products through that says, is this product clean? Is it safe? And is it easy? If the answer is yes, then we get that green thumb to go ahead with that. When you're used to using those messy oils and greases and things like that, we replaced all of that in all of our liquid solutions with water. Nice, easy to use water. It's great.
So this is Arrusted Development, and that was 6 ways that you can go green while preventing rust in a packaging situation. Thanks, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.